This video is about transporting your work to campus. So I'm going to go over some techniques and safety rules to follow when transporting work, especially in the greenware stage to campus. You want to be extremely careful. The best thing to do at first is to find a box, and I have a couple here to show you. I would recommend trying to find a box about this size. You can see when you fold down the sides, it's not very tall, not very deep, because none of our work is really deep at this time. The vessel will be a different situation, but for now, you'll be bringing in your botanicals, your cube, if you decide to fire it, your mask, and your hand-built pieces. So I also have a box like this that I found. I love coconut water. So I saved that one, and it's really a nice fit for the cube. So rather than have a huge, large box and try to get all your work in one box, that will cause problems, because potentially in your car, if it's not stationed in a very secure place very well, it could potentially make the work slide back and forth, and that's what we're really trying at all costs to avoid. So I would suggest, rather than again finding one large box, find 2 or 3 smaller boxes and getting them to nestle in as safe as possible so that they're not sliding around. Another thing why I'm thinking of it is when you load your boxes into the car, rather than put them on the seat or the floor, if you have the space, if you have somebody coming with you, maybe you want to ask them if they could kindly hold it on their lap. That way they can watch it safely and just have another reassurance that nothing's sliding around too much. If you're coming by yourself, not to worry, treat it like a child, baby your work. And actually what I often do when I transport greenware, or often complete firedware for whatever purpose, to galleries or wherever their destination point is, you can buckle them in a seatbelt. That's a really extra precaution to take so that they're not, if you happen to, for whatever reason, have to press on your brakes heavy, you certainly don't want that to happen and then not have it be secure enough so they slide off the seat and things can break too. So definitely think these things through. The sooner the better. So when it comes time to the day you're bringing them to campus, you have a plan set out. It's never too soon to gather some newspaper, paper towels, bubble wrap. I have foam. I'll show you that in a moment. And extra plastic is always really helpful. So for the cube, if I were to carry this or transport this to campus, what I would do is the plastic that you use to dry the piece, I would just treat it the same and cover and see. That's one would be fine. Again, just for safety, I would probably use 2, just to give it some cushion, extra softness, so that again, if it were to slide, it would have less likely to chip and break, right? This all adds cushioning and padding to it. You could, as I mentioned, I have a roll of paper towels here. You could, for safety measures, wrap a few rounds of paper towel on it. You could have some newspaper to cover it, more plastic if you have enough plastic. If you have bubble wrap, I don't expect you to buy anything. I'm just giving you ideas that may come in packages or you may already have for different purposes at home. You could use that. There's also foam. This is just like upholstery foam breaking down. I know of a nice fabric store that I can get a lot of scraps, and this comes in it really comes in handy for when I'm packing or shipping my work, to buy these scraps, because this foam, to buy it in one sheet, is very expensive, right? It's upholstery foam for couches and chairs, things like that. That will work. There's also this thing that came a while back in something I ordered in a package too, for the same purpose, right? They put it and lined the box with inside the interior of it, or the corners, with this, so that nothing would be broken upon the shipping. And this is really large, right? But you could certainly take a utility knife, an X-Acto knife, or even scissors and cut it into smaller pieces and then fill it in. So, right, this is how I would start. I would wrap every single piece with enough plastic and then find a box that is pretty close to the size. This is just a little bit larger. And when I mean a little bit larger than the cube, it's really only an inch, probably. It's like a half an inch on each side. And then this side, you can see, is more like 2 inches. So I don't want that to slide. Most of these sides will be fine. But what I could do is I could roll up some newspaper and put it down the side. And I can just be careful. Your work is greenware, right? So you don't want to be really forceful in how you shove. You know, you don't want to be overly forceful to shove the newspaper or bubble wrap or paper towels in there. But you can see by me doing that, now instead of having, hopefully you can see, instead of having this excess space here where it could potentially slide, you have the newspaper here and it acts like a buffer, right? So that if in the car it would happen to move, it's not going to rock back and forth and potentially chip or break the piece. So I stuff down newspaper. I continue to do that more and make sure that nothing is moving. Now that cube is in there, it's locked into place fairly well, just as is in this box. And then if I were to put this in a car, any kind of vehicle, and then strap a safety belt across that and latch it, it's not going to go anywhere. And that should be really safe for you to then, when you get to campus, carry it in or drop off. So that's the cube. And then for your botanicals and your mask and even your hand-built soft slab pieces, this box could work nice. Again, I would refrain from putting all those pieces in one box. You know, maybe I would get another box this size, but for your mask, just want to show you again, I would just take the mask, I would take a piece of plastic and I would cover it, being extra careful because again, this is greenware. So even in the wrapping stage to get them in a box, be super, super gentle, super mindful of how you're handling the piece. Even simply placing it in, if you shove it in a box or you try to get it to, you know, you could crack it. And I'd hate to see that happen. So please just think this through. So this box is empty. What I would probably do for this is I would line it with something. Foam might be extreme, right? But piece of plastic, then maybe I would take a piece of bubble wrap, place that in there just to give a little bit of a cushion, and then I could lay my mask lightly, gently in there. And the same thing, right? So it's in there like so, but there's a little bit of space around, so that could enable it to slide back and forth. So that's where you could do the newspaper again. Up and just kind of tuck it in the corners so that really prevents it from sliding back and forth, right? It's going to stay there. Now I could put newspaper over here, but what I would do if I had like one more botanical or two, I could lay them, again, wrap them in plastic, lay them in the side, make nestle in with a bubble wrap, paper towels, old t-shirts, cloth, whatever you have at your disposal that's really soft. And I hope you don't have to go out and buy anything for this. You shouldn't have to. You may even have a towel. I can see here I have towel over my clay. And that's another thing I could just drape over the top, you know, fill in those little crevices and creases so that everything is nice again and cushioned, so that I can not worry so much when I pick up this box, nothing's going to shift and slide. I can just be confident and comfortable carrying this box around. I also have some towels I forgot to mention. If you do have old towels, you could certainly line a box with a towel like so. And if you don't have bubble wrap, you don't have newspaper, you don't have foam, old towels are really great. And they're not going to do any harm to them. So you could just borrow them for the transporting and put them back and nothing will be ruined. So that's that. I guess that's all I can think of at this time to show you how to transport your work as safe as possible. I really, really wish you all the best of luck to get all your pieces safely to the campus. It'll be a good day when we hopefully can know that everyone's work is there safe and sound. But again, reach out to your instructors if you have any questions and you're unsure if something is a good idea or not to use for packing. So best of luck with all this.